Velocity based on story points has become a standard metric in many agile teams, but I'm highly skeptical of velocity, both as a metric or as a planning tool, and you should be too. Here's why. Hi, I'm Michael. I'm an enterprise coach and have accompanied hundreds of teams in adopting better ways of working, helping them improve significantly, both by adopting agile ways of working and helping them fix stuff other practitioners had broken. Today, we'll talk about why velocity is already the wrong starting point. Instead of trying to improve how you use it, you might be better off by ditching it entirely. Now, I could say a lot on story points, and we're not going to fully open that can of worms here, only barely enough to show why velocity is actually a problem. Let's take a backlog item as a benchmark. This one is an upper limit of what we would call a 3. Now, items significantly smaller than that would logically be a 2. That's how Fibonacci sequences are defined. Something only insignificantly bigger than this significantly smaller 2 would still classify as a 2. We have some uncertainty, so that's okay. But because we defined our benchmark as the upper limit of a 3, anything bigger than that can't be a 3 anymore. So if it's bigger than this, it has to be at least a 5. So we'll take the one that's just a little bit bigger and call it a 5. Now, let's say we get an item as big as a 5 plus something as big as a small 3. Now that is significantly bigger than a 5. Logically, we would call that an 8. So, now let's start by taking a story of size 8. Remember, the way we had defined our 3, the big 3, before, 2 3s are bigger than this 8. And also remember that 2 big 2s plus a single 1 might have the same size as this 8. What just happened? We have just lost a third of our velocity just by taking smaller stories than this big single 8 stories into our sprint, even though we're doing the same amount of work based on size. That means, simply by how story point estimation works, if you're trying to meet a target velocity, you're always better off taking the bigger stories, which have more risk, deliver value later, and may not even get completed on time. A focus on velocity will push you in the opposite direction that a lean, agile organization should be going. And that's why you should avoid velocity and instead do the one thing that good teams do. You break things down into bits and pieces as small as possible, find out where the risk is, pull the risk forward, and if you deliver value, you're achieving more than when you're completing story points. Give me 3 story points of the maximum value, and you're giving me more than 8 story points without a lot of value. Your goal is not completing story points. You're in business to create customer value. Velocity is not a metric of value. Ask, what's the best value for effort ratio that we could have in this sprint, and go with that, regardless of what your velocity is.